Welcome to the latest episode of Beyond the Degree. Today we are so privileged to have a veteran of design education in India, Dr. Anant Chakradeo sir, who has been with the MIT group of Pune since the last 32 long years. Since when MIT was just an engineering college in Pune, now it has multiple branches across Ujjain, Indore, Shillong and whatnot. He has been a very critical part with the MIT group who started the design vertical. He is a great design thinker by himself. So in the today's podcast, we could talk a lot about design education, design thinking, outcome-based education. Where is Indian education heading towards? What is accreditations? What are the core pillars that everybody should be focusing upon? What are the core messages for Indian educators, students, everybody? So I'm extremely excited for this podcast and stay tuned for the detailed explanation of what Anand sir has to talk to all of us. Sir, welcome to the podcast.
Hi.
We have recently started this podcast named Beyond the Degree.
Oh,
So we are really excited to invite academicians like you who really help education to take beyond the degree.
okay.
So when I was going through your entire profile, usually I tend to see a shift of, if a person is working for 32 years, we see at least 15 or 16 different experiences. But I was really surprised to know that you are associated with the MIT group for the last 32 years, which is very rare in today's generation. And today we see MIT as all glorious, all glamorous institution, also amongst the top, institutions. I'm really curious that how was MIT 32 years behind when you joined? Can you help us to paint a picture?
Oh, yes, surely. Thank you, Shubham, for inviting me. First of all, to answer your first question, I think when you like what you do, people don't tend to leave the job. So probably I liked what I did for all these years. That was the only reason. Second answer to that is I shifted, but within MIT group. I did not leave MIT group. I grew in MIT group. If you talk about MIT, we started in 1983 in a very small premises in a rental school on Shivaji Road in Pune, and with 3 divisions of engineering. When late Chief Minister Vasantdada Patil started giving permissions to private engineering colleges in state of Maharashtra, we were one of the first few permissions which were given. The important feature of MIT, I should not use word MIT always because it is Maharashtra Institute of Technology. Very few people know that it is Maharashtra Institute of Technology, which was started in 1983. Dr. Vishwanath Karad sir, who is founder, president of this MIT, he was a full-time faculty in Government College of Engineering for 20 years.
Oh.
So he did his bachelor's and master's in COEP in mechanical engineering. Then he joined COEP as a faculty and he was working as a faculty in COEP for 20 years. And in 1983, few of his colleagues came together, like Professor Bhide was there, Professor Ganesh Rao, who was principal at that time of COEP, he was there, Professor Karad was there. So these three people and few other people from same fraternity, like Bhaskar Rao Awad was a leading, law educationist in the city at that time, or Dr. Ghaisas, very renowned ENT surgeon from Pune. He was also part of it. Barrister Vittal Rao Gadge, who was MP of Pune, he was part of that team. Avinash Wardekar, who was an industrialist, who is industrialist, he was also part of that team. So these like-minded people came together and started Maharashtra Institute of Technology. So value system of Maharashtra Institute of Technology or MIT group is very strong right from day one, because it is not treated as an educational group started by a politician or maybe a sugar industry owner or something like that. It is perceived, and it is the fact that this group was started right from day one by all faculty members. So it was always seen as a engineering college started by engineering faculty members or engineering professors. So right from day one, MIT got that advantage. And we every time proved through our deeds, through our all the acts which we did through the teaching learning methodology, that we are the best. So we are amongst the top schools in Pune at that time, even Maharashtra. Even today we are like that. But the basic reason is the value system with which we started Maharashtra Institute of Technology. Of course, I did not join MIT on very first day because I started my undergrad program in 1983. So I graduated in 87. I came to Pune, and then I was attracted to teaching. And when it was like a decision to which institute I should go, very few options were there, and MIT was one of the options. So and that is how I joined MIT in 94. So almost 32 years I'm working with the group.
Amazing.
And I started as a lecturer in mechanical engineering in Maharashtra Institute of Technology at that time. But the value system with which we started, even today, the value system is intact. We work with same principles, same values, and that's why we are so strong. I think that
Amazing.
is the reason.
Amazing. So, uh, I see in all institutions that that a culture that gets percolated from the top management that defines the DNA of the institution.
Yes.
And I am really glad to see a very dynamic leadership pattern at MIT. There is no big bureaucracy. People can speak about their opinions, which is a very nice value system to have. So I read that you started as a mechanical engineer, so mechanical professor in MIT. Then why did this shift come to design? Like, how did you end up
Oh,
doing a design?
that's a quite interesting story, I would tell you. What happened is, I was never, a person who was happy with whatever I was doing. Like,
Mhm.
I was a lecturer, I was conducting lectures, I was taking practicals, I was project guide for students. I was not happy with that. Slowly, I started growing in the organization, and I was made. I was the youngest head of the department for workshop and production engineering department at that time. So in 5 to 6 years, I was made the head of the department probably. And when I was heading production engineering department, I came across various CAD/CAM softwares, computer aided design and manufacturing and analysis softwares. So at that time it was Ideas, Pro-E, Katia, and Unigraphics, and all these softwares were there. So as a start of this, what we did is we decided to go for MIT CAD/CAM training and design center.
Hmm.
So there was no concept of center of excellences at that time.
Hmm.
But in 99, we started MIT CAD/CAM Training and Design Center, and the purpose was to train industry freshers. I mean, people used to, after their undergrad degree, people used to join industry, and industry did not have time to train them further on the tools which they were using. So we had collaboration with Tata Technologies, Tata Motors, all these people, and they used to send a cohort to us, and we used to train them. So that is how CAD/CAM Center was started, and in another 4 to 5 years, that became a biggest success, I would say. I mean,
Hmm.
we used to train close to 1,000 students a year,
Okay.
and it was a certificate program, 2 month certification, 3 month certification, 6 month certification. That is how we used to do it. So we reached to a saturation level in CAD/CAM. And then we started discussing about what next. What can be the natural extension of this CAD/CAM center? The word design was already there in that CAD, which is
Hmm.
computer aided design, but it was with different perspective, I suppose. So when we started thinking about the natural extension of CAD/CAM center, I think the only option which we could arrive at was a design institute.
Hmm.
Of course, we were not knowing anything about design at that time. We were not knowing. We were not even knowing that National Institute of Design exists in this country. We were
Okay.
quite unaware of it because our entire career was around mechanical engineering, around engineering, I would say.
Hmm.
So that is where few of my past students, alumni of MIT, came to help. Two names which I would like to mention is, one is Dr. Nachiket Thakur, who is currently director of MIT Institute of Design. He is my mechanical engineering student, and after mechanical engineering, he joined IIT Powai Industrial Design Center for his masters. So MDes program he joined at IIT Mumbai. So through him, I got introduced to design programs, industrial design
Okay.
programs. There is another student, Shekhar Badwe, who currently runs a very successful design firm in the city, Locus Design.
Okay.
He was my student in diploma in tool and die making. MIT used to run a diploma program at that time in diploma in tool and die making plastics. So Shekhar was our first batch student. Shekhar joined NID, National Institute of Design, after that program. So whenever he used to come for vacation to Pune, he used to always meet me and show me that this is the new development, this is a new product which I have developed, this is a new concept which I have developed. That is how I was introduced to industrial design or design as a profession or as a vertical. So when we decided to go for design institute, when we arrived at a decision that we should go for a design institute, naturally the only option was to contact these two people and get the insights from them. And the first thing which we did was we went to Ahmedabad. We visited National Institute of Design. Through Shekhar Badwe, we met the guru of design education in India, Professor H. Kumar Vyas. He was the first professor of
Okay.
industrial design in National Institute of Design way back in 60s. So we met him, we met few of his colleagues, and we met Dhiman Panchal, who is still with us as a professor in MIT Institute of Design. So we met at least 5-6 great design gurus in Ahmedabad. And when they said that they will help us in starting one more design institute in the country, then we were happy, we were ready with this proposal. So this is how the shift from a mechanical engineering professional to even thinking about design education came into existence. I was completely unaware of it. So the first thing which I did was there is a set of films created by National Institute of Design, and Professor H. Kumar Vyas has explained what is design education in those films. So I went through those films again and again for almost 2 to 3 months to understand. And from 2005 to 2006, entire 1 year, almost every 15 days, I used to visit Ahmedabad, or they used to come to Pune. We used to meet, we used to discuss, we used to deliberate, and that is how birth of MIT Institute of Design happened in 2006.
Very good.
Neither my my senior person, who is executive president right now, Dr. Sunil Karad, neither he was aware of design nor me was aware of design. But through some alumni of MIT, we were introduced to design, and rest is history. Actually.
Amazing. So I'm observing this pattern that some professors from NID helping you to create MIT School of Design. Then, as you earlier mentioned, that some people from COEP came together to form MIT. When I compare this landscape with the today's competitive, cutthroat education business landscape, it is very rare to see that one education institution keep people helping other people to grow and start. So that was the collaborative education or collaborations that were happening. It was very good to understand that. So sir, now the industry has transformed a lot into design. So there are so many design institutes. I'm really glad to know that MIT was amongst the very few institutes who delivered design education. So these days there is one word that is being used constantly called as design thinking,
Okay.
and everybody is talking about it, and most fancy people in design. So what is design thinking for a layman to understand?
Actually, it is the most abused word, I would say, design thinking, because people very casually use this word. Uh, Design thinking is nothing, for me, design thinking is nothing but design doing.
Okay.
I mean, only thinking doesn't work. It has to be substantiated by action. So for me, design thinking is design doing. But yes, design thinking covers systematic thinking, I would say, systemic thinking, or critical thinking, I would say. So all these things put together as a process is design thinking as a process, I would say.
Okay.
And but people use it casually, and now it has become a buzzword. Right from management school to engineering school to design school, everyone uses that word. But it has essentially to do with the process and the systemic thinking about the process, and it has more to do with design doing.
Okay. Can you help us understand that normal thinking and design thinking. What's the exact difference and how does it help anybody?
Okay, for example, I'll give you an example. Let's say I want to design a chair.
Hmm.
So my problem statement as a layman will be to design a chair.
Hmm.
But if I want to use design thinking process, probably my statement will be, I want something to sit on. No, it
Okay.
need not be chair. It can be anything. As long as I'm passing, I'm okay with whatever specifications I'm defining and whatever constraints I am defining. I think the output can be chair, output can be stool, output can be anything else.
Okay.
So this is the difference between normal thinking and design thinking. Design thinking starts with user. Design thinking starts with the correctness of the problem itself.
Hmm.
Many times we feel that this is the problem, that is the problem. But when we go into depth, we realize that it's not. So defining the right problem is the most important process in this entire design activity. And design thinking or critical thinking or systemic thinking helps us in defining that problem correctly. Once the problem is defined correctly, I think the process takes care of the solution.
Okay. Amazing. So this is, I guess, the most simplest explanation I've heard about design thinking. So thank you for that. So if I see your entire career graph after you stepped into the design school as a director, you have always stayed with design, right? So being a policymaker or being as at a director level, leading so many people, how has design thinking helped you?
Of course, as a mechanical engineer, I like analyzing things. So that is my forte because I'm trained mechanical engineer, and every mechanical engineer has those analytic skills, and they are trained like that. So that was my forte. When it was coupled with design thinking or the design process, when I got introduced to the world of design or the world of design education, I would say so many learnings have happened since then. Uh, so when you start thinking in one particular way, then it helps you to dissect the activity into multiple, I would say, sub activities. And then I work on, toll gate principle. So I work on one step at a time. If there are 10 steps to be performed to achieve the final goal, I don't focus on the all 10 steps. I focus on first step. Looking at that, I go for second step. I know the entire thing is in my mind, but while focusing, I go by toll gate approach. First toll gate, second toll gate, third
Okay.
toll gate. So this helps you in um converting that problem, larger problem, into small problem statements. And if you go on solving those small problem statements, automatically the larger problem is solved. So because I was trained mechanical engineer, I had good analytic skill, good logical skills. What was added through design was empathy.
Oh.
Because unless empathy is there, you cannot even realize that there is a problem. Can we think of a doctor who is not empathetic with his patient?
Okay.
Because if someone wants to be a doctor, he has to be empathetic with his patient first. He must understand what is happening to that patient. Same, if you want to be a designer, you'll have to be empathetic with your user first. You'll have to go into his shoes, understand user thoroughly, correctly, and then only you'll be able to define a problem in rightful way. So the most important factor or the most important characteristics of a good designer is empathy.
Correct.
Then all other characteristics will come. So because I was a mechanical engineer, analytical skills were there, logical skills were there, sanskars happened in terms of empathy. So I was able to, you can say, handle many designers. I jokingly used to say that when I used to interact with design students, that if your ego as a creative person is X, then your faculty's ego is 10X, because he is also a creative person. He is senior than you. He is superior than you. So I used to handle, I would say, 1,000 creative minds. And
Baapre.
I learned that through empathy only. If I would not have been empathetic toward each of them, I think it was not possible to run a design school, I would say.
Amazing. And a very very next question is that what is the difference between empathy and sympathy?
See, sympathy is about you're sympathetic. So in Marathi, daya.
Hmm.
It's not daya. Empathy is knowing more about that person, getting into his shoes, understanding that person as a user, and then probably able to help him or her in whatever you want to achieve. So there is very clear cut difference, and world doesn't work on daya.
Correct. Yes, thank you for making the design thinking principle so simple for us to understand. So, I always see difference that there are the design institutions that we always deal with and the normal institutions work in a very different way. The faculties are very different. Even the dress code, the way the people dress in the design school is also very, very different than the typical MBA or engineering school. So there are two questions which probably we can take simultaneously. So why is design education so different than normal education? That is one. And second, the follow-up question is what the normal education should take from design to make it a better education system.
In fact, I'll put it in other words. I think normal education is different than design education.
Okay.
Because design education, I suppose, is ideal way of
Okay.
teaching learning process, because it focuses on questioning the status quo. Design education always is about curiosity based education. We encourage students to ask questions. We encourage students to develop their learnability quotient more. So in design, we always say what they are supposed to learn is they are supposed to learn. I mean, they should learn to learn. That's it.
Okay.
As long as their learnability quotient is very high, and as long as they are open to all new ways of learning, I think they are fit for design education. So it's not heavily structured with purpose, because we need flexibility in teaching learning in design education. Like for example, in other formats of education, maybe engineering, management, they come up with courses, they come up with course structure, they come up with modules, they come up with some unit, lot of unitization is done, and then which questions to be asked, what to do, what not to do. It's so structured that there is hardly any scope for deviation. In design education, we believe in defining relevance and objective of the course. That's it. Once the relevance and objective of the course is decided, then how to do it, how to conduct it, which assignments are to be taken to cover that, it's all left to faculty. We just monitor whether it is happening in that way or not. So design education is about learning by doing. Design education is about project-based learning. Design education is about curiosity-based learning. Design education is about experiential learning. So all these components which we are talking about in national education policy now are there in design education since inception of design education. Second important feature of design education is there are no textbooks available in design education.
Okay.
Because we don't believe in textbooks.
Okay.
Our philosophy is, suppose, for example, I'm working on a pregnancy bed as a product design project. Okay. So I must understand human anatomy. If I don't know, I should go and study human anatomy. I must understand pregnancy as a process. Then only I'll be able to design something to ease out that process. So I must understand that. Third thing, it's a unit which you are developing. So it requires mechanical strength, it requires overall strength, it requires operational ease. So I must understand mechanical engineering part of it. So for that I need to go and study mechanical engineering. So it depends on what project I'm handling. So that is where learning to learn concept comes into picture. So we train students on this. We don't train them with some fixed textbooks and fixed principles, because they are supposed to learn every new day when they work on every new project. And that is the basic difference between all other education systems and design education systems. You asked about the way in which they appear, the way in which they behave. Uh, I think it's a typical behavior of a creative person. First of all, they are creative people,
Okay.
and that's why they join design program. But I always say that they are not they are not vagabonds. Don't look at them like that. They are as professional as any doctor or engineer or a lawyer, because finally they work for industry, finally they work for client, finally they work for user. So design is a very serious discipline, very disciplined
Right.
activity. The most disciplined creative people I have ever witnessed is like Amitabh Bachchan,
Yeah.
Lata Mangeshkar. They are most creative. I mean, ultimate creative people, but most disciplined.
Yeah.
So this is a misconcept about design. Design is a very serious activity, very serious discipline. But there are some. It is based on freedom.
Hmm.
The whole basis of design education is on questioning the status quo. It's on freedom. I
Amazing.
remember one discussion with my students about uniform. You were talking about management school, and they come in uniforms and all those things happen. So when we started discussing it with faculty members, the first question which was asked by faculty to me, that we are not uniform, so why do you want us to wear uniform? Which was very logical, and the topic ended there itself. The discussion about having uniform or not having uniform ended there itself, because there was a logical reasoning given by faculty member. That is why they are different. In that
Amazing.
sense, they are definitely different.
Ama- Amazing. So what I understand from all this is that design education is very different, and there is a lot to learn from design education. If
Yes.
instead of saying design education, I think it's the most fundamental form of education and the most logical part. So, sir, coming from so you have spent a lot of years being a director, being a pro vice chancellor, so at a policy making and all of this. So you have handled a lot of
Yeah.
accreditations, lot of rankings, and we day in day out work in accreditations and rankings. So these days I have started asking myself a question that why do accreditations exist? So if there is any whoever are hearing to this podcast, in a very simplistic way, what are accreditations? What will happen if there is a world where there are no rankings, no accreditations? What will happen?
See, finally, education, giving education to someone is a process. Let's understand that it is a process. There is input, there is a process, there is output. So I always compare it with assembly line or any other manufacturing process, where there is input, there is a process, there is output.
Correct.
So if we understand this definition of education as a process, there has to be quality system. Like in industry, there is a quality control department.
Correct.
There are deviations given to product. There are benchmarks set. So if we understand that this is a process, there has to be some quality initiative in that process. There has to be a quality control department like industry in education system, and that is where the role of accreditations come into picture. So accreditations are not like ticking the box. It's not about grade at all. Quality system is backbone of every organization. If you want to run any organization successfully, you need quality system in place, very strong, robust, well defined, well structured quality system in place, and that is where role of accreditation or NAC or NBA are just outcomes, I would say. To answer your question, if there is no NBA, no NAC, will it still work? I would say it will work, but quality system has to be there. You need not go for NAC, that is your choice. You need not go for NBA, that is your choice. But whether you should have quality system in place or not, yes, the answer is 100% yes. And the tool to show it to the world is actually these accredited. So we'll have to look at it from that perspective.
Correct.
People try to neglect that part very strongly, and they just start ticking the box by getting accredited. It
Correct.
will never work.
Correct. There is a data point, sir, which I suddenly remembered. So at one end, we are talking about so many institutions getting NAC A++, NIRF this, NIRF that. There is a report presented by Skill India saying that 75% of the diploma graduates, 59% of engineers that come out of Indian schools are unemployable, not unemployed. They cannot be employed. And there are 13 lakh students who are going out of the country to pursue higher education. So then if such a thing is actually happening, then how do you connect with accreditations and why is this happening?
See, accreditation, as I understand, it's quality of process. So as you strengthen, as you go on tightening this quality norms, I think the output which you are getting will be a quality output.
Correct.
Now, if there can be 100 parameters for any quality output or for any quality process. If you are focusing on low-hanging fruits and still getting accredited and saying that we got this grade or we got that grade, you are getting benefit of that, but your students are not getting benefit of that. You need to highlight, you need to understand the important quality parameters from that accreditation process. Focus on that, then automatically the output will be good. Your product which is going out of your university will be good, and then there will be employable.
Correct.
At present, people are focusing like I pretend to teach, you pretend to learn, and both are happy.
Correct.
If that is the scenario, with that also you will be accredited. You will get grade because process is right. There is nothing wrong in the process, but tightening of process is not happening. Quality parameters are not tight, so the output is not as per the expectations of the industry.
Correct.
Second thing about it is this gap of industry and institute, the expectations of industry and the output which comes out of the institute will always be there. For simple reason, the technology obsolescence is so high that by the time we start teaching students one aspect of one technology, that technology is obsolete.
Correct.
And that technology obsolescence is growing so fast that it is not possible at all to cope up with the changing trends and changing speed of the technology. So what is more important is improving learnability quotient of the student to make them employable.
Very true.
So that whenever they go, whatever they are told, they are adaptive to that, they are quick learners, they can easily learn and they can
Correct.
be available for the job. So that is how we can improve the employability. We are focusing more on skills, we are not focusing at all on attitudes.
Attitude.
Unless we focus on attitudes, employability component will not go up.
Amazing. Amazing. And sir, we are generating so much data everywhere, and just before the podcast we were talking about this concept of data driven decision making.
Yes.
So can you, in a very simple language, help us understand that how can data driven decision making help in this quality assurance process?
See, quality assurance needs some insights. I mean, there are different level of management structures. There is mid-level management, there is base level management, there is senior level management, there is top leadership. Everybody's requirements are different. Data is same. The insights from that data will be different for a different level leadership.
Correct.
From that perspective, with so much increase in numbers, unless we have a robust data driven system, it will not help us to get right insights. And unless we get insights out of data, we'll not be able to take decisions on improvement. Because
Correct.
Generally what happens is the loop doesn't get completed. I mean, we ask for data, people give data, we analyze the data, we submit the data. That's
Correct.
it. We don't drive, we don't get insights out of that data, we don't come to conclusions out of that data. Many people go up to conclusions also. But the real loop starts thereafter.
Correct.
After conclusions, what are the action taken based on those conclusions?
Correct.
And what is the percentage improvement which has happened? And it's a dynamic process, it's a continuous process. So data driven decision making was there, will be there, and definitely it is the future for any organization. If someone is using it just for the sake of it, I think
Correct.
they will get whatever they want, but that institute will not grow.
Correct. Definitely.
It is as simple as that.
Very, very rightly stated. Also, sir, when I talk to a lot of faculties, so I'll be a faculty now, and I'll ask you the perspective question. Is that I'm a faculty. I'm here to teach. I don't really care if the institution is getting NAC or ACSB or whatever, right? But at the end of the day, I've been made to sit here, do all the documentations, do everything, right? If I'm a management school, I'm doing NAC, NBA, NIRF, ACSB, EQUIS, all the international bodies are in front of me. We're just running around, and I have no time to talk about quality here because I have to keep submitting reports. So there is a large audience who is going through this dilemma today, whether to choose quality or to choose accreditation. What would your suggestion be to all these people?
No, very frankly with you, I agree with faculty's sentiment that they should not be overloaded with administrative work of this type. So what is the option? The option is you bring automation. Automation in terms of my personal agenda is data has to be entered only once and at source.
Correct.
Once it is entered, the person who has entered should forget about that data.
Correct.
If that type of system is in place, faculty members will never feel that they are overloaded because they will enter it once. And second is automation in the system. They need not spend their time in entering things, generating reports, doing donkey work. That has to be, see, whatever is repetitive has to be automated.
Correct.
So if that support is given to faculty members with some automation, lot of ERP system, lot of systems, even learning management system help faculty members to bring that automation.
Correct.
Like entering marks, entering attendance, all these things will have to be automated. So once that administrative load is removed from faculty will be able to focus on their primary job, which is teaching learning, which is research, which is innovation, which is getting aligned to students, which is working as facilitator for the student. They are worried because they feel that this unnecessary work is being given to them. So the only way to handle that is bring automation in the system.
Amazing. Sir, after discussing so much about education, and we have recently started doing a lot of analysis around alumni.
Okay.
With a very simple feeling that better the alumni, better the values and everything the institution has given, right? And we see a very low percentage of alumni getting into entrepreneurship. When we were analyzing your data, we found that there are so many entrepreneurs who are doing entrepreneurship today, graduated from MIT Design Engineering, out of which two names which I can proudly take is, one is Satyajit Mittal, who has started Areto. One is Girish Chitale, who of course is from a Chitale background. So two questions here. One is, as a faculty, now I'm not asking you as a policy maker or decision maker, as faculty, what is the end process end output that you want to see or would like to see? And what do you feel about so many entrepreneurs getting generated or produced by MIT?
It's always satisfactory, it's always satisfying to see your kids, your students growing and they becoming something. And it's further satisfying when one of your student becomes entrepreneur and then grows as an entrepreneur. So that is the best moment for any teacher. Of course, 90% students go and start working in industry and they don't fail. They work very well. They also reach to topmost positions. Like one of my student, Rahul Mendale, who is director in Deloitte in US. So that's the topmost position in Deloitte type of consulting firm.
Yeah.
And he was a mechanical engineer. Satyajit Mittal was our design student. In fact, he started his entrepreneurship journey not from Areto. He started his entrepreneurship journey, which was a product which the name of the product was Squatties. And when you squat, at that time, he studied the entire process ergonomically and he developed a seat to squat in ergonomic way. And it was his classroom project under the course Design for Special Needs or Design for Social Needs. So it was a classroom project. Then that project was converted into a product Then he started getting, he had little background of business. So then he started getting into production. He supplied close to 6,000 toilets in first Kumbh Mela, not
Yeah,
this Kumbh
yeah.
Mela, the Kumbh which was prior to this. So that was his startup entrepreneurial journey. And then he came up with this new product which is very successful, the shoe which grows along with the kid.
The
I
kid.
mean, as the kid grows, even the shoe size also
Amazing.
grows. So this is, I mean, all these concepts were classroom projects. Even for Chitale, you said his final year B.Tech or final year BE mechanical project was Bakarwadi making machine. You can see Chitale Bandhu prime product as Bakarwadi these days.
Yeah.
So when they decided to automate that whole process of making Bakarwadi, I think the final year project helped him to get it converted into an assembly line for Bakarwadi or
Amazing.
Bakarwadi milk. So these students, I will not say they are different, but they looked at the things differently. They looked at their classroom projects, their thesis projects, their final year degree projects in completely different way. And the luck was with them. They
Yeah.
got right finances at right time, and it was converted into a business, a product, a successful product, something like that. But
Amazing.
most satisfying moment is when you see your, students grow in their life.
Yeah. So I can also very much relate to this because whatever we are doing at Studium today started as a classroom project
Yes,
in
of course.
engineering in VIT, and it all depends upon what kind of help you are getting from your faculties, your peers, everybody. So it's very good to know that the classroom projects getting converted and faculties are so you spoke very proudly about Satyajit. So that's a, if he's ever watching this, then he's going to feel very nice that somebody remembers me. Somebody remembers remembers me not as Areto but as Squatties. It's a good feeling for every budding
There were
entrepreneur.
two girls in design. One girl was a good dancer, Kathakali dancer, a Bharatnatyam dancer, I suppose. And the other girl had her family business in sensors, making sensors. They came together, they worked on a project, and they identified a need for deaf and dumb people or children. So, how would they learn dance?
Okay.
Because they don't understand beat. They don't, unless you understand beat, you cannot dance. So they developed, as a classroom project, they developed a ring. And that ring used to generate beats.
Oh.
And it used to hit the fingers. That is how they, because their tactile thing is very normal and sharp.
Correct.
So they used to understand beats through that. So they developed a ring, and then that was converted into a product to teach dance to deaf and dumb
Amazing.
students. Now then, for that, those two girls learn the entire language, sign language, which they use. They are very good experts in sign language. They are from Pune only. They have formed a company. They work on this project. They have got a range of projects now, like wristwatches, few other things. So this was also initiated in classroom
Amazing.
and finally got converted into
To
a
IT.
successful venture, I would say.
Correct.
So this is really satisfying when you see that progress.
Amazing, amazing. So analyzing all of these parameters, the only question that I have now is, we talk a lot about the vision of the institution, and we say that a lot of people don't even know what the vision of the institution is, and there is a lot of discussion going around in the industry for this. So can you help us understand that, one, why does the institution has or should have a vision, correctly defined vision statement, and how should they look about it?
See, without vision, no one will be able to go ahead, because vision gives you some push to work towards that. So every organization, every institute, every university must have a very correctly, in appropriate words, defined vision statement, and of course mission statement. Vision and mission basically lead to many things. There are 2-3 outcomes of vision and mission. When you define vision and mission very clearly, it's very easy to define the programs which you want to run.
Correct.
Or it is very easy to select the programs which you want to run. That further leads to graduate attributes which you want, because graduate attributes are directly related to the product which is coming out of that organization.
Correct.
Once the graduate attributes are defined, then it's very easy to talk about program outcomes, program specific outcomes, then that leads further to course outcomes, all those things. So vision, very clearly defined vision will help you to very clearly define the programs, and that will help you to very clearly talk about the attributes of your graduate, that is of your product. So this is one way of using vision. Legal way of using vision is vision and mission will finally define your ordinances, rule book,
Correct.
because that has to be aligned to your vision and mission.
Correct.
Ordinances will further define policies of your organization. Policies and will further define guidelines of your organization. Guidelines and policies will need SOPs to implement it. So SOPs are finally defined. SOPs will define action. So vision and mission will be converted into action through all these rule books.
Correct.
That is another way of looking at vision and mission. Third interesting way, which is also equally important, is vision and mission will define the strategy.
Correct.
Vision and mission, after defining the strategy, will define strategic document for your organization. That will further define your long-term goals, short-term goals, and again supported by action and action point. So vision and mission cannot be taken in casual way. It cannot be written casually. Every word which write in vision and mission must have action points or implementable, measurable points to follow. That is the importance of vision and mission, and that's why maximum focus has to be there while writing vision and mission. Either you write vision mission first and then do this, or you prepare this structure first and based on that come up to a bottom-up approach, create the vision and mission. But that's the most critical part of any organization.
And I believe the quality assurance process also fundamentally based on what the vision is or what the mission is.
Yes. Because that will define, that is part of strategy. So quality strategy will be defined only after you have right vision and right mission.
Correct. Correct. And also the vision is not just a thing to be discussed in a boardroom in front of the management. It is actually to be percolated towards the leaf node of the process.
Yes, even the peon or the servant or the worker working in the workshop must understand with what vision, with what value system, with what mission the institute wants to grow. Every student must be aware of it. Every faculty, every staff must be aware of it. It's not only about senior management or boardroom people to discuss vision and mission. It cannot work. It will never work. It will fail miserably.
Correct. And this leads me to a very logical question. This percolates into a concept called as outcome-based education.
Yes.
Which I believe, coming from design background, it is very normal for you. Or I'll say that is how design education is structured.
Yes.
But you also know a lot of faculties, a lot of people struggle or face a lot of difficulties in implementing OBE, outcome-based education. Why is this happening? Is it really such a big thing that what's just the situation?
It's not big thing. Actually, people are missing the fundamental of education, which is learning. We only focus on teaching. We don't focus on learning. The moment we start focusing on learning, automatically outcomes will come into picture. Because learning is about what you have learned, how you have learned, to what depth you have learned, to what extent you have learned. What is this? These are all outcomes only. So people are focusing on teaching than learning. That's why they are missing outcomes. That's why they do outcome mapping or attainment exercise just for the sake of it. So if our entire focus is on whether student is learning, whether student is learning sufficiently, whether it is relevant to give him that much learning exposure, whether it is really required or not, all these things will automatically define outcomes. That is what outcomes are all about. But we forget that we are into teaching, learning. That's why they don't say teaching. They always say teaching, learning.
Teaching,
It
learning.
has to be coupled with learning. I would say we should forget teaching part. We should only focus on learning. Teaching will automatically come.
Correct. And with this, then how is design education able to adopt this at a much higher level? What is the difference that they are able to frame the outcomes very correctly, and why is this the situation?
See, the reason behind this is design education is all about project-based learning. It is all application-based learning. I always say that as a designer, you cannot sit in ivory tower and say that I will do whatever I want to do and you'll have to accept it. It doesn't work like that. Design starts with constraints. Design starts with specification. Design starts with user mapping.
Correct.
Design starts with understanding the user. So when you are talking about all these things, the outcomes are already defined. And when outcomes are defined, naturally what should be done to achieve those outcomes, it's very easy to define that.
Correct.
So design, we don't call it as subject. We never call, in design education, we never call it as subject. We call it as course. We never call them as students. We call them as learners. We never call faculty as teacher. We call them faculty. Because there is a difference between teacher and a faculty. Teacher teaches, faculty facilitates.
Okay.
Design education is all about facilitating that process. I always call it as faculty clinic. Like for any course, the difference between a typical engineering course and a typical design course, I'll tell you. In typical engineering course, there are 40 lectures. I go to the class, I deliver 45 minutes lecture. I use same PPT next year, next year, next to next year, next to next year as a faculty. I'm least bothered about even changing that. Syllabus is fixed, units are fixed, whatever is to be taught is fixed. It's not like that in design education. In design education, there is a course. In a course, first of all, we follow block teaching methodology. We don't follow lecture system. So a course is for 1 month. Let's say design drawing. Design drawing or visualization is a course of 1 month. So all the students in that class will learn visualization for 1 month.
Okay.
So within that, there is some theoretical component. There is some component which is to be done by student and to be consulted with faculty for correctness. There is some component which is to be done on your own without consulting faculty. And there is some component which, if you feel, you should go to the faculty. So there is a theoretical component wherein typical lecture session happens. Then there is a component wherein tutorial happens. It is a guided experience. And then remaining component is you are free to do, explore. And if you feel you should go to faculty for consultation, you should consult. So that is the concept of faculty clinic. So faculty need not be there in the class throughout the time. Once that lecture part and guided part is over, faculty sits in his cabin,
Correct.
student is in his room or in studio. Whenever student feels he should go to the faculty, he goes.
Correct.
This is a fundamental difference between the teaching which happens in engineering and the teaching which happens in design, and no wonder the output is different.
Correct. So what I understand from this is that we are not just bombarding the student with knowledge.
No.
We are first creating the need in his mind that why should he learn, and once he has sufficiently understood the need of learning, then we believe ki he'll as it is learn from any
Then you
place.
need not even ask him to learn. He will automatically learn because he will feel the heat of it.
Correct.
As I gave that pregnancy bed example, unless he understands the process, how will he design the product? Not possible only.
Correct.
Now, first project is on pregnancy. Second project can be automotive project. Now he has to understand automobile as a machine.
Correct. So the role of a faculty is more than teaching. It is actually to create a need of education, need to learn.
And just to facilitate.
Yeah.
Just be there as a guide, philosopher.
Correct.
And student should come to you whenever he feels the need to come.
Correct. Amazing.
Like he should go to the library when he feels that I should learn something.
Correct.
Should read something. So there are reference books available, but there are no textbooks.
Textbooks. Correct. Great. So after listening to all this OBE and all of this, I'm pretty sure that whoever is going to watch this podcast can take a lot of notes out of this, and we can refer to design education as the more standard way or more outcome driven education, I'll say. Right now, sir, the most interesting and the futuristic segment of beyond the degree, about where are we going towards. So NAC, as you know, is changing their parameters left, right, center every time, and faculties are confused. The HOIs are confused. NBA is also getting changed. So where are we heading towards? If we have to cut to 5 years down the line, where do you see Indian accreditation system being?
I think we are slowly moving towards international accreditation system, because if you see the new system which is coming up, which is binary system, which is a maturity based accreditation system, which is very much similar to all international accreditation systems. So as a country, I think we are moving towards that, and it's necessary to move towards that, because if you want to compete with international market, I think you should speak same language which they understand or which
Correct.
they speak. So from that point of view, going for QS rankings or similar rankings, I would say, or going for any system which is internationally accepted system or mapped on international system is a necessary thing. And I'm sure NBA or NAC or NIRF or any ranking or accreditation system is slowly moving towards that.
Okay.
I understand that there is a pain here, because every time you create something, create some report, create some templates, and all of a sudden the new system comes, new templates come, new SOPs come, and again you are frustrated and you are supposed to work on. My point always is that you don't worry about which accreditation you are supposed to face. You worry about data. Is your data is right? Has your data captured all the possible data points? Like if you are talking about faculty, has it captured anything and everything related to faculty? So if you are focusing on master data sheets, if you are focusing on master data templates, I think you will never be worried about which accreditation you are going to
Correct.
face, because in digital era, when you have everything available in digital mode, extracting that and generating reports,
Correct.
it doesn't take much time.
Correct.
People don't do that, and then they are worried about changes in SOP, changes in
Correct.
this, changes in that. So if everyone focuses, and even national policy is like that only, nation is very strongly heading towards one nation, one data policy. So once the data is entered, it will be available to all the agencies which want to either regulate you, which either want to accredit you, or which want to rank you, or which want to give affiliation or check the compliance or give permissions. For everyone, the input data will remain same.
Correct.
So once we reach to one nation, one data policy, we will not be worried about where that data goes, because then it will be available to all the agencies. So you need not apply to NIRF. NIRF will pick up that data from that central portal. Samartha is the current portal for that, but they might come up with something else. So once the data is there on that portal or whatever government portal you are talking about, then it will be fetched from that portal and directly you will be accredited.
Correct.
So this is where we are heading toward. So instead of focusing on SOPs and nitty-gritties of one particular system, making a data ready for that, then trying on some other, then trying on third, I think everyone should focus on master data sheets.
Correct.
And then there can be a system which can fetch the data, which can analyze the data, which can generate the reports in whatever format those accrediting agencies want, and then go ahead. But essentially, it is required because we want to compete with world, we want to compete with international universities. We want to speak same language as they speak, as they understand. And if you want to grow in that competitive field, I think we cannot run away from this data keeping,
Correct.
data collection, data analytics, report generation. We should never be bothered about that. Whatever automation possible, one should bring that automation into the system so that repetitive work will be avoided.
Correct. Amazing. So towards the end, sir, if if you have to tell three things as suggestion to any new directors, policymakers, to go towards higher rankings, higher accreditations, what would those two to three things be?
See, first of all, be open to the changes which are happening around, because people, the worst problem with people working in education field is orbit shifting.
Hmm. Hmm.
If we decide to shift the orbit of senior people, lot of resistance will be there. So for any and every new thing, there is lot of resistance from faculty fraternity, from whosoever working in education field. So the most important thing is they must be very flexible and open to the changes happening around. May it be
Correct.
process changes, may it be policy changes, may it be challenges from international market, may it be challenges from accrediting agencies, may it be challenges from students. Simple thing, NEP is being implemented to schools. Just imagine after 5 years from now, when it will be fully implemented in schools, the type of students which you receive for higher education will be completely different.
Different. Correct.
Are you prepared for that? Is your system prepared for that? Are you going to teach same old things to them? It's not possible. So I think orbit shifting is the most important. Ability to shift orbits and be flexible and be open is the most important message to all the senior leaders in academia, in education profession, I would say.
Correct.
Because without that, it is not going to work.
Correct.
Second important thing, we face lot of challenges about existence of brick and mortar education.
Right.
After 10 years, whether brick and mortar education will exist or not, that's the question to be answered.
Correct.
And if we really want to exist, for what purpose we will be there? Education institutes or organizations or universities will be slowly converted or will be converted into experience centers.
Correct.
It will not be teaching learning center. It will be an experience center. So if we are unable to convert our university in experience center, we'll miss the opportunity.
Can you elaborate experience center?
Experience center is, they want to see the applications. They will not come to you to understand knowledge.
Okay.
They will apply knowledge to do something. So unless you have studios equipped with that, unless you have labs equipped with that, unless you remove classroom from the entire show, there is no need to have classroom, because the lectures are available online. You can give them, supply them recorded material. So knowledge can be transferred without them coming to the college,
Correct.
to the university. What they will come for is getting that experience of converting knowledge into something. Maybe a product or process or something else. So in that sense, it will be converted into experience center. So more and more center of excellences, more and more labs, more and more studios,
Correct.
and less of classrooms will be the future of new university, will be the future of university.
Amazing.
So are we adaptable to that?
Correct.
Are we willing to change? And that is where that orbit shift comes. Are we willing to shift the orbit? If not, I think we are already threatened by all Microsofts and Googles and all online platforms and online educations and Coursera's and all these people.
Correct.
Our existence will be challenged after few years.
Correct. Amazing. So I haven't imagined Indian education being an experience center yet, because the reality on ground is very, very different. It is still a lot of rote learning. It is just compulsory attendance and all of that. So this looks very fascinating, but it is very difficult to predict that when would India reach that level.
No, if people don't respond to it, they will miss the opportunity. Better they should respond to it as quickly as possible, because whether they like it or not, it is going to happen.
Correct.
Market will drive that. If you don't do it, few foreign universities will come here and do it.
Correct.
And they will respond to it. They will not come to your institute.
Correct. And already India has opened doors for
It
foreign
is
universities.
already there.
Right. So the most important things to learn from today's podcast, of course, there are a lot, but to summarize the entire podcast, it is going to be a lot around how MIT Group started, and there we learnt about the core values. And these days, I only see the core values in the vision analysis document that we see, but core values exist in real world. And how it started with collaboration, and it's a very good core value structure. Then we talked a nice thing about design thinking, and I'm sure all the listeners, all the viewers tried to understand what exactly design thinking is, how it can be implemented across education institutions, the importance of a vision statement, data driven decision making, that is the future of everything, I guess. And then where are we heading towards? And as you rightly mentioned, Indian education should be a experiential learning center than the teaching center. This is a very thought provoking thing. And at the end, I believe that instead of competing between two institutions, we all should be thinking that we as Indian education, where are we heading towards? And I'm pretty sure that if you are there and thought leaders like you are there to guide the young leaders, India's future is in safe hands. So thank you, sir, for this opportunity to talk to you, and thank you for this wonderful setup as well. So
Thanks. It's my pleasure also to interact with you. Thanks a
great.
lot.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.